Kyle Tanouye, thank you so much for coming around.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Great to have you here. This is the continuing saga of Talisman LBS.
That's
And
right.
the LBS stands for Location-Based Services.
Correct.
So what's the company been doing?
We've been doing a bunch of things. You know, the market has been developing since since we last spoke, probably about a year ago. I think consumers have adopted more to mobile phones. You can find more smartphones out there. With more smartphones, there's more cooler things that you can do. Location, having the ability to find where a user is, and for a user, more importantly, to find what's around them.
This is a big deal, isn't it? This whole thing about geo, what do they call it?
Geo-targeting?
Geo-targeting.
Right.
It's a big deal because we haven't gotten to the end of all the things you can do.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So you've been working with that, and you've gotten some new ideas about it. So what are those, and how are you moving them forward?
Well, when we started Talisman about 4 years ago, we built a platform that included all of the functionality that you could do on a mobile phone, everything from text messaging to mobile apps. And we had a little geo in there as well for GPS targeting. But from a consumer perspective, it was still relatively new. You needed certain handsets. We did a bunch of things in Asia.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. That's right. That's right. And since then, the market kind of finds its place too. So Talisman is focused on embedded and interactive marketing. So we are a technology company, but it's really we focus on how technology is used by marketers. So there are two spinning wheels. There's the technology that's developing, and there's also the acceptance marketing perspective. So 4 years into the mix, we've seen quite different pictures when you put the two different combinations together. So some of the things that we had thought would be great technologies that would take off, and the rest of the world did, such as a lot of these texting. We thought that everyone wouldn't need email, and you start doing texting. Well, those things have kind of found its own niche, very powerful niche, but not the end-all game. So absolutely, today is the same answer. We haven't found all the final solutions yet, and that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah. So what about, let me just sidetrack on texting for a moment. What did you think was going to happen with texting? That it would become the overwhelming, message traffic device on cell phones? Is that what?
Well, we always knew that texting had a unique capability that was very simple, very quick, and it had a higher priority. So if anyone wanted to get a message out to someone or on a mass level quickly, text was a great way to do that. Email was still there, but the challenge with email was that everyone used it, and we already had a psychological perception of email, right? It's something that handles bulk very well. I can get a lot of emails from my friends, mixed priority. Very important stuff and non-high priority stuff. So texting provided that very non-intrusive but yet intrusive when needed type of communication mechanism. From a marketing perspective, it had its challenges, right? You had that instant ability to reach a consumer through a text.
Yeah.
Semi-high priority, very intrusive.
Yeah.
The challenge was that it was still intrusive, and by that being intrusive nature of it, there was some art to the deal of being able to send consumers these offers or promotions without really irritating them at some point.
Yeah, so it would just pop up on your screen.
Correct.
If you wanted it, you could opt in and opt out.
Correct.
And you could have little pop-ups saying, if you come into my store right now, I'll do you 50% off or something.
Right. So we're seeing it fit well as a complement to other forms of mobile marketing. As an example, people are using more and more mobile applications these days, and all of us carry a bunch of them on our phone.
Isn't that true? It's amazing
Incredible.
what's happening.
I think there's estimated up to about a 500,000 mobile apps today, a bulk of it on the Apple platform with the iPhone, and a growing number on the Android platform.
Yeah, sure, it's happening. Everybody loves that Android phone.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
It must be because of the same process with the apps.
Right. The apps are very unique in that they're bite-sized,
Yeah.
and they allow us to access quick information, things that we like, and that's really what it's
Tremendous functionality, unbelievable things you wouldn't have. It really opens your mind. But I want to go back to the messaging for a minute. So it's what I like about the messaging is it's like in the background, it's silent, and just for example, if you wanted to have a record of where I went all day and every call I made and everything I did, you could be sending like one of those text files which keeps on adding a line for everything that happens on a server, right?
Right, like a log.
Like a log.
Correct.
You could have a log developing, and the log would be somewhere else, but the phone would be sending one line after another, and
Right.
you'd have a complete record of what I did all day long, where I was, what I said, what I wrote, anything I did, yeah? So is that happening?
Well, the technology itself allows that, but there are many safeguards. So, as an example, in the U.S., the phone carriers control very much what the phone does capabilities, and it's filtered out. So the phone carrier, as example, will be able to pull your location wherever you are any 24/7 time of day,
Whether you like it or not.
whether you like it or not. And their justification for that is because they use it for emergency E911 services. Right, so the ability, if you make a 911 call, they can find you, send you emergency services.
My Apple phone says I can turn it off. Is it really off?
It's off for commercial purposes. In other words,
I got my
it's
answer.
yeah, it's technically not off, right? It's technically off from a services perspective, and it varies by handsets, and that changes all the time. But it's really with the good intent of it, right?
Sure.
I don't think anyone really minds if ambulance finds you because of the services.
I wouldn't mind. I don't think anybody would mind.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to have, it's sort of under the hood that way, and
Right.
if necessary, you call on it.
Right.
But what strikes me is that where before we were looking at these functionalities in kind of a silo, now we look at them in combination, and when you add them up and have them crisscross that way, they become that much more powerful.
Right.
And so you've been dealing in that space. You've been doing that crisscross and that integration of multiple functions and
Right.
exploring the fringes of that. That's
Right.
quite something. I mean,
Right.
do you get any sleep?
Not a lot, but it's we're having fun.
I'm sure you are.
One of the things that we see most exciting about it is that mobile and technology in general creates more accuracy, right? More efficiency and accuracy is the general motivation for technology. And with the mobile platform being added from a marketing tool perspective, it's really something we call like a fourth dimension and potentially even like a fifth dimension. I'm not a scientist, so I can't really define it, but in basic terms, today when you do marketing, you have an XY, right? It's on the corner of Smith and 45th Street, which is like two-dimensional. The third dimension would be like elevation, right? So that's the third dimension. The fourth dimension would be time. So what we can really do is we can combine all of those. So now instead of broadcasting a promotion to millions of users, you now have the accuracy of pinpointing who would like to be most receptive to a promotion based on the location and a specific time of day. The next element comes in with intelligence. So similar to how the trend of the internet is growing, right? There's more a need to collect information, and the reason for that is because the more information you collect, the more accuracy you get. And there's a good and bad with that, right? There's privacy infringement, but on the good side of it, the whole intent of getting to learn more about a user is the ability to filter out all that stuff that he doesn't really want and to promote efficiencies in time.
So if I'm a merchant, then I want information, so I can push to him. And of course, he can opt in and opt out. But I think a lot of people, especially when they're walking around in a commercial place, would like to have this, to push. So he turns it on, and now you want to know everything you can about him to give him the satisfaction that you get when Amazon sends you an email and says, "Did you know that books just like the
Right.
books you read, those books
Right.
are now in, and you can order one." It's the same. It's that personal touch that
Right.
some people, may be offended, but most people really like that. I
Right,
think.
right.
So you can do that, but query, what about his Amazon history? What about his purchasing habits? You don't have that, do you?
No, we don't.
But you could get it.
We
If
could.
somebody sold it to you, you could have it.
Correct. If we
But this would
decided to use it.
not be good, because the consumer doesn't like that, right?
I think there's there's always a fine line, and as technologists, any inventor of any type of product, right, you have that responsibility to make sure that there's a good and bad way to use it. Not that we'll always be able to have that control, but I think again, information can be used as a very beneficial feature of the system. I think the lines that we are careful always to be aware of is that we try and we do not collect any personal information, and in terms of personal, we mean by even names, right? We don't typically
Just
collect names.
phone information.
Just phone information, and the reason why that's sort of really insignificant is because if you get rid of your phone, then it's gone. I mean, it's your identity is really just tied to that device, which
It's a
all of
little
us change.
scary, isn't it?
Well, we change phones every year, right? So it's sort of that. So it's a little bit of a justification, right? We rationalize that we can collect information that's not dangerous to you, right? We know exactly what potentially we could know what type of food you're most interested in by your phone device. But if you ever wanted to get rid of it, you hit like a kill switch and you throw your phone in. That's it. So,
And then I start again because maybe I got hyperallergenic to something,
that's
But
right.
but anyway, so my question to you is, wouldn't it be better if you take your system, which is called Milan, namely Mobile Interactive Location-Based Ad Network, ad meaning advertising
Correct.
network. So you take this now, and I give you a server, okay? The server has all the information that Amazon would have about me, that Facebook would have, and that I give you voluntarily. You make me fill out a page. What are your buying habits? What does your wife like for her birthday? Whatever, all that stuff. Okay, now you can talk to me. And when I'm passing by the diamond store
You're right.
that has her kind of, 3-carat diamond, then it's
Right.
going to talk to me and it's going to know
Three-
that I might be interested in that. Now,
Right.
you can do that. I know you can. You can put that on a server. You can ask me to fill it out. And certainly you can get it elsewhere if I agree. And I would like that because I want you to know about me, Kyle. I'm an open book. A lot of
Right.
people are open books. They don't care, one whit if
Right.
you know about them.
Right.
So wouldn't that be a better product?
It could be. It's often, when we do a lot with database, right? And database is always only as good as the data coming in. So it's always about good data coming in, and if it's not so good data, to be able to crunch that and filter it and correct it on it. I think that we oftentimes get caught up on this great system that we can build that's really like a super duper brain that we build into a system that can predict things. But in reality, when we kind of take a couple steps back, we realize that it's a matter of baby steps too. So the purpose of Milan is about bringing buyers and sellers together in a mobile real-time world. So you have the ability to walk down the street, quickly find the assets around you, the type of businesses that you'd like to go to, and not only find them like a directory system, but be able to find out the best offers. That alone doesn't really sound very unique compared to what you may find. But what makes Milan unique is today the missing portion is giving the ability to the business owner to take advantages of the accuracy of the tools, marketing tools found on the internet. Today, if you have an online store, you can go to Google and do an AdSense, AdWords campaign very quickly within a few minutes, get up your website and be across thousands of websites.
Suppose you go to Talisman LBS and you say, I'd like to be across thousands. So I like to catch everybody who comes around with your program
Sure.
on their phone. I'd like to talk to them. And you can sell them that, no?
Sure. Well, we have our Milan network is one of our platforms, and that connects your business based on your physical location to potentially millions of consumers in your area. What makes Milan and mobile unique, though, is unlike Google's and the web-based media, web-based media is worldwide, which is great if you're selling things to the worldwide community. If, however, you're a pizza stand or a dry cleaner or a restaurant, a multi-chain restaurant, your business is really based on the consumers that are within driving distance.
So local is the
to
most
local.
important thing.
Right. So we're focused on
So
local.
then we say network. When you say network and the N in Milan, you're talking essentially about a defined network that is not global.
Right. Well, it's global in culmination. So our network brings together mobile app providers. So brands that have mobile apps today on their app store or on the marketplaces. And today, one of the highest most wanted content is the ability to find deals around them. So Milan works out partnerships with these mobile app owners. Right? You could be a bank that has a mobile app, and we can put Milan Marketplace in your application, and it does two things for them. One is it gives great content for your consumers. So in addition to getting bank information, you also get the great deals on it. The second thing is we pay money to that app owner because we share in that revenue. So the
business model is that when the customer buys something, you get the revenue and you
Right, we're an ad network. So a restaurant will pay us on a click-through basis to reach a number of target local consumers. Consumers find their restaurant on their mobile device.
Yeah.
When they click on to find the promotion, pull a coupon,
Yeah.
that restaurant will pay Milan, which is the network. It's an ad network. Very
What
similar
is
to
a
Google.
coupon? A coupon, it gives you some discount when
It
you
could
go
be,
in there?
right? It
And
could-
that links up the customer with the network,
Correct.
and then you can get a piece of the action that way.
Right,
Oh,
right.
That's great.
So we think it's a win-win. The consumer wins by getting the best content and access to information that he doesn't otherwise have, right? Otherwise, if you don't have the information today, you're looking at a newspaper that is great, but you'll not have it real time, right?
Right.
Unless you're carrying one all around you. The merchant benefits greatly because they now have the ability to reach consumers in their area. They don't spend a cent to consumer that's in Chicago or outside of Hawaii. Right. So
the probability is that a fair percentage of the people who are within the network will in fact be customers.
Correct. So we eliminate the barriers to purchase, right? One is reaching them, making sure the consumer is aware of your product. Secondly is he's not sitting 1,000 miles away. He actually has the ability to go in. The third party that benefits is a growing number of brands that want to reach consumers with their content. It could be CBS, it could be ESPN, entertainment, anyone that has a mobile app today.
Is this the same? Is this through the business that contacts me, or is it independent of the business that contacts me? Is it a separate message?
It's actually a standalone marketplace.
Okay.
So the way it works is if you launch, for instance, ESPN as a mobile app,
Yeah.
you'd find information on sports scores, you can listen to the radio, and you can click a button that says Marketplace. And in the Marketplace, you'd find all of these local businesses.
Okay, separate, completely separate.
Well, in the app, a complete separate
Okay,
section.
within the same app.
Right.
Within the same app, the Milan app.
It could be a Milan app, or it
Yeah.
could be a portion of many bigger name brands.
Okay.
So as an example, Milan exists as a standalone app today.
Yeah.
You can download it from any marketplace, Android or Apple.
I can get it right now.
You can get it
today,
right now.
okay.
Yep. You can find deals from Zippy's or all these locations. But by comparison, you can also download Oceanics app. You can download an app from Hawaii Magazine that reaches about 200,000 visitors.
And all these have your marketplace.
And all
too.
these have a marketplace embedded in it.
What is it called? Marketplace?
It's called Milan Marketplace.
Oh, okay.
And the marketplace is coined in different names based on the brand. So Hawaii Magazine uses it for deals. They just say hot deals. So when a visitor to Hawaii comes in, of course they can find activities, places to eat, and it's all part of the same marketplace. So the benefit is that it is a network. If you're a restaurant, you can now go online and within 5 minutes configure your location, brick and mortar location, put up a single deal that will reach thousands of different consumers through different portals. It could be a visitor app, it could be ESPN.
Scampi $5 tonight.
Right.
Happy
High
hour,
value,
whatever.
Or it could be sustainable campaigns. One of the things that we've seen recently and everyone has hype over is with these group buying deals. Right, and everyone's excited about these promotions, the ability to go in for a 2-for-1, pay $50, get $100 return on
Act
it.
now.
Right, act now, and it's great for consumers. The challenge for businesses again is that it's a big price to pay to get 1,000 people in here and give them half price, right, on my deal. So where Milan and Talisman focuses on again is about focusing on sustainable marketing campaigns for the local market, right? So the ability for a regular mom and pop or a larger chain of businesses to use a system that reaches thousands or millions of consumers across the country based on their location.
Well, it strikes me, I mean, this reminds me of our last conversation. Your vision is really,
Wild.
boggles my mind. You have a way of looking out there, and I really appreciate that. So this has been going on now. You've been working in this space for a couple months, is it, or more?
We officially announced this ad network, Milan Marketplace,
Yeah.
in November. So we're
Okay.
just a little over a month over.
Okay.
We've launched it initially in Hawaii, and we're just about to roll it out in a big way in New York. We've signed a great deal there with one of the largest papers out there. So
All
very
that
soon-
traveling paid off, eh?
All the traveling paid off finally.
Okay, with one of the papers, tell me.
Yes, it's actually with one of the local community papers. It's actually with the Penny Saver brand, and they have they reach millions of consumers, their households, and they have thousands of merchant consumers. So they're very excited about the ability to leverage a new technology to reach consumers in a new way. Traditionally it's all about mailers, direct mail,
Yeah,
television.
but this is so much more surgical than that.
It's very much
more
surgical.
efficient,
That's a great way to describe it. It's
Yeah.
surgical marketing, but yet on a broadcast level.
Yeah. Wow, this is real. This is actually going to put some of those other methods off the side. Because this really gets right to you, and it gets to you with a phone. You're always going to have the phone with you and all that.
Right.
Made to order. Another one of those fantastic applications that nobody thought of until you thought of it.
Yeah, well, no, I wish I could take all credit for it, but it's something that I think everyone in our industry has been trying to get to, right? And we're learning every day about as much as our mistakes as well as our successes. And one of the things that all of us are looking for is the ability to change the way that people live, right, in a positive way. And we tend to focus on the marketing side. So what it has done for us is it made us realize that there is a higher art of the deal in earning a consumer's loyalty and trust. None of it will happen overnight as well, which I think is a good thing. You know, the systems, we improve our systems every day.
But in these two markets that you're playing in, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the Hawaii market and the New York market, is there's competition in both of those places?
That's a great question. You know, I often get asked, and I ask myself, you know, what's the wind of competition going down? It really depends on how you define, and it's difficult to really put out. But really, the only comparators that we see currently today are Google and potentially Facebook. And
That's pretty heavy.
well, it's heavy, so I laugh by saying that they're competitors because they're really not, because we can't compete with them. But it's a good thing. You know, really, what it is that what we're going after is really the next level that we believe in marketing at the consumer level. You know, it makes it very powerful, where it leverages it and it fixes problems between merchants, brands of content, and consumers.
So can you talk about this without having to kill me?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, you know, none of it is fully. All of this is just talk until it's executed successfully.
Yes. Well, you got to stay ahead of those guys.
We
Because they're
do.
watching you, you know.
Well, they're
Probably watching this program right
it
now.
could be. That's right. You're all over. You're all over. It is a good thing, because I think that one of our biggest challenges is bringing awareness to consumers, and consumers that are business owners. Right. We have great experience in Hawaii. You know, oftentimes in the tech industry, I'm always asked, why Hawaii? Well, is it because you live there? Is it because, you know, you're from there? Whatever. Yeah, a little bit of that. But really, Hawaii is a great place because it has such a diversity of businesses. You know, probably second to New York, right? In size of diversity.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that Hawaii provides us is it's pretty much a hard rub. Right? If we know that if we can roll the technology here in Hawaii successfully, and the adoption is quick, we know that we could go to larger metropolitan areas and quickly do it. And
Right.
that's why we're very optimistic
It's the
about
laboratory here.
it. Is.
Yeah.
It also keeps things a little bit quiet, a little
Right,
bit.
it's true.
Before it rolls out.
You're a little bit off the side, so the guys on the mainland don't see you real time.
Right. Right.
So in Hawaii, what are you doing exactly right now to roll this out?
So we officially announced the Milan platform in last month, and we have been bringing awareness to our merchants. We've also been signing up a bunch of mobile applications. So, you know, we're excited about the apps that we have there. We have actually 4 apps. There's 2 Milan apps. There's an app for Hawaii Magazine. We have one for Oceanic, and we're launching a couple others with ESPN, and with another app for island families that, you know, cater to younger families that are, you know, kind of finding information about events, activities, and also about great deals and saving money. So
They're all free, right?
they're all free. Yes, yes, they're all free. That the determination of it's charged or free is really up to the app owner.
Mm-hmm.
But we provide ourselves as a plug-in to that.
Some of them you're writing, though, aren't you?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because you're an app manufacturer.
Right. So we do 2 things. Our focus is not really on developing mobile apps, but we develop the systems that are required to integrate into a mobile app.
Right.
So we have all the capabilities to do mobile apps, but our focus is really about providing these plugins, so that if you're an app developer or you're a brand that builds mobile apps, we'll work with your developer and they put into their system. Another company that we're working
So you enhance it. You
Enhance
make it
it.
work better for the
Right.
merchant or for the consumer.
Right.
So it's I see
Mhm.
a plug-in kind of thing.
It's a plugin.
So the basic app, that's vanilla, relatively speaking.
Correct.
Then you get real sophisticated on the
Right.
plugins.
Right,
Ooh.
right. So one of the partners that we're working with is a company that specializes in developing mobile apps for universities. And we're hoping that we'll be able to have an opportunity here in Hawaii to do something with them. But we're also working on a couple others across the mainland. The mobile apps for universities are taking off, you know, daily, and with each semester you'll hear a university saying that they'll give their college kids, you know, an iPad or a mobile app, and really the function of the app is to find the library, check out books, get maps, directory
all
systems.
these academic functions
Mhm.
that kids would have to do
Correct,
in college.
correct. But-
And faculty, I'm sure.
Right. But one of the missing things, you know, from my perspective, when I went to college, it was about, you know, saving money, eating, and finding some beer, right? So that kind of content is not available today in these university apps. So for Milan and Talisman, we provide that because we have this marketplace. So it's a perfect fit where they can take our marketplace, put it into the university app, and now I think what will happen is they'll see kids spike right on downloads because now they can find great places to eat.
Consumer goods.
That's
no,
right.
That's sort of
Yep. In addition to finding the academics.
the life experience thing.
Right.
So, but that's also kind of a laboratory for the rest of the world.
Correct.
Because they have this sort of modest economy in college,
Mhm.
and then the major economies outside of college,
Right.
but you want to test it out a little bit. And
Right.
That's a great test bed for it.
Right.
Ooh, this is so exciting. And the thing about, tell me if I'm on the right track with this. It used to be that Garmin and all the ilk of Garmin, that was the way a lot of people found themselves a way around. Not necessarily as tourists in a foreign country, but right here at home.
Right.
Now, my niece was here last week, and she wasn't using Garmin. She was just using her phone. Her phone
On
was
Google
getting her
Maps or
Google
something like
Maps,
that.
and she was
Right.
finding ways to get around without having a Garmin.
Right.
So now you see the cell phone is sweeping another functionality into itself.
Right.
And that's part of what you do, isn't it? I
Right.
mean, getting to the right place.
It is, and I've often looked at that too. When just from a side perspective, where does the wayfinding systems, right, like Garmin and TomTom, oftentimes it comes down to pros and cons, right? I still have a GPS. And when I travel to the mainland, I use it a lot. And I do have a GPS functionality on my phone, but the battery dies, or I can't make a phone call when I'm doing it. So it's those little things that I think will keep them alive for
But when the phone guys figure this out, they're going to correct all those problems.
But you're still limited to physics, right? You got one screen. I like multiple screens sometimes, right? So you still have some of that stuff. So it's the same thing from our perspective. Is we utilize a lot of the same capabilities that a Garmin would or Google Maps does. In fact, we use Google Maps in many of our apps. But it's really not intended to replace that. It's really to enhance our application by using that functionality.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but you'll see. I mean, this is very dynamic. You can tell me that you're inventing all this stuff for what amounts to a static phone platform.
Right.
But the phone platform is changing.
Right.
And you could have all kinds of disruptive things happen that you did not necessarily predict.
Sure. That's
Over
fun.
the next year, even.
That's right.
With the
Right.
next Apple generation,
Right.
and God knows what else. And that Samsung thing that came out recently.
With the tablets.
Yeah, you into
Yep.
tablets too?
We are, there's a fine line between them. I mean, most of the tablets today, the Apple and the Android versions, run the same operating system. It's just a different form factor. So our systems will run on both. It's questionable whether or not what the segmentation of applications will be. Traditionally, if it's a little larger physical device, you have the ability to read more on a screen.
Yeah.
For our focus, it's more about promotional marketing, right? So it's not so much content heavy.
Right.
And it has to be portable. It's
Right.
things that you won't really use this when you're at home next to a computer.
Right.
Right. So for that reason, we tend to be more efficient, get you the critical information you need on a smaller screen.
Stay on the phone.
Yeah. But we
Yeah.
do develop for both.
But, I mean, as time goes by, I mean, it's unsettled. The iPad is less than a year old, believe it or not. It seems like it's
Isn't
been
it
with us
exciting?
forever.
Yeah, that's right.
And now the competition's coming in and the different size screens. So you say to yourself, well, maybe there's really no essential difference between the operating system for a phone and an iPad, except for the fact that you have a configuration file that tells you what to do for different sizes of screens.
Right.
And it's not complicated, And
Right.
at the end of the day, all these devices are going to merge into, one operating system, I'm guessing here, one operating system. And so if you make an app, you can plan for everything.
Right. And I think what's exciting is, as we sit in this room, there are several monitors. Right, and what we always realized a while ago was that there's going to be an evolution of hardware devices, right? And it's about the communications between devices. So while today we have our mobile phone and we have an iPad or a tablet device, we're not utilizing a larger screen that may be physically where we're at. So I think the next generation will be the ability to transport information in a secure fashion from these smaller devices to a larger on a larger
computer.
screen on a temporary level.
Yeah.
And if you look at more into the Star Trek, this table
Yeah.
could one day be in a panel where you and I can discuss things, and I can transmit things from my phone to this
That's
table.
exactly
here.
what I want.
Yep.
If you need a beta tester, call me
Yeah,
up.
right.
I want that.
I was like, we're working on it. Maybe a couple years.
It's so interesting. So I was telling you, my niece visited. So, we have a lot of computers in my house, and they brought a lot of computers with them, and my brother and my niece. And before there's so many computers in operation all day long.
Right.
So how much trouble would it be to have the whole table become one computer?
That's right.
Or I'll go a step further, have the table become a multiple screens. You
Right.
sit at a given place on the table, right?
Right.
And your screen is right there.
Right.
And
That's
you
right.
sit next to
and
me,
it follows
your
you.
screen is right there.
That's right.
Or push a button, one screen.
Right. That's right. Very
So
cool.
you got to follow the hardware changes. They're changing so quickly now.
We do, and one of the big changes coming up in the mobile world is something called near frequency communications. So near frequency communications is the ability for you to take a mobile device, or it could be a tab, something that you keep electronically in your pocket, and when you walk within near range, it has a sensor. So gone, are the days where it's sort of infrared, where you have to have line of sight. You don't necessarily need that anymore.
Is this powered, or is this like an
It's
RFID?
a semi-power passive system. It's used a lot in Japan and Asia.
Oh, like with the octopus card kind of thing.
Right, very similar. So I have a Japanese mobile phone, and in there's a chip that is very secure, and it encrypts it when it transmits, but I have the ability to go into a train station and do transactions on it. So that completes, from a mobile marketing perspective, it's one of the final steps in being able to reach a customer from promoting from the beginning, going all the way from convincing him to go to your store, and once he's at the store, do a redemption validation, right? The ability for him not only to see an ad coupon, go into your pizza shop, but the ability to pay for it and redeem it through his
By
mobile
swiping the phone.
device there. It doesn't have to be on a mobile device. It could be on a card, right? There's many of these electronic cards, RFID cards. But the benefit of having it on a phone is that, one, it's one less device to carry. I'm going to carry my phone. I'm not always carrying my card. But in addition to that, there's security tracking access on it. I can intelligently program it.
Right, you can send messages back. The card can't do that. Yeah, so you
Correct.
can get messages going from both,
That's
right?
right.
The phone and
That's
the
right.
reader,
Right.
and then they can meet in the middle and they can verify each other. It's a more secure
Right.
transaction.
What's exciting about it is not only do you have the ability to bring convenience to the consumer, but now you have the ability to do rewards and loyalty programs. So one of the things that we've built is a system for texting where you can build a loyalty program. Forget your loyalty card, you can do it on a mobile phone today. But the technology is not good enough for the business to actually send you some credit. I'll send you some bucks credits. And with these points, you can go into my bookstore, and then now you can buy things directly with these points.
And this lives, what, in the cloud, but your phone can read it?
It'll live in a centralized server that has that account information. Similar when you go to Best Buy today and you have your reward perks, I can't remember what they call the name.
Yeah.
But I still have to go online today and print out my coupons.
Right, which is really primitive.
It's a little bit right, but it's back in a couple of years that was
Yeah.
great. So the difference would be that it's just more convenient. Now when I'm at the Best Buy, I can not only look at my coupons, which I can today, but I can actually, and not only have to show it to the cashier, I can just go to our panel and put my phone on it, and it will deduct.
That
my
really
credit.
builds customer loyalty.
It would.
That's like the United Miles, but better.
That's
you know.
right.
It all started with United Miles.
That's right. Mileage programs are very, very good science.
So this is. I think I'm beginning to understand what you were saying earlier, that the guy gets in the marketplace first, begins to develop the loyalty first. I mean, forget about technology, loyalty first, and that gives him a leg up on the heavyweight competition who'd like to take his lunch.
Correct.
And that's what you're doing in 2 markets now.
Absolutely, because we know that the success of local marketing requires loyalty, and consumers will buy things on a loyalty basis, right? We go to the supermarkets partially because we live around the area, but because we're comfortable and we trust the brands that we buy from. Internet is a little different. I can go to a website, buy it one day, buy some cables or buy a computer, and the next day I'm jumping to someone else, right? There's no loyalty there. I don't see a face. I don't see my friends at the store. Loyal is still, it's still about human. It's still about the interaction. So that's why we need to make sure that the systems that we develop cater to that, right? And
Yeah.
promote that.
Yeah, and that's why you stay ahead of the crowd.
And the bar is so much higher. The successes of Google, as great as they are, it's still being challenged by this, because Google made the internet smaller, right? By giving you the efficiencies of search. What Talisman and Milan is trying to do is make all the information accessible and bite-sized for your mobile phone, protecting your privacy, but enhancing the experience.
So
that you do on
what's the
mobile.
metric for you guys, for Milan? In other words, how do you show your success? Increasing transactions, increasing customer satisfaction. I'm not sure how you show that, but what chart would I look at to see your success?
I think I guess there's a investor business case success, and there's the more personal side. But I'll go into the more personal side first. I think in that case, it's really about, our goal is about changing the way that people live their daily lives, and in a positive way, where they now have higher expectations, right? They now push merchants to provide not only the cheapest items, but the best services and the best goods that are available. And I think that we're seeing that today. We're seeing more consumers raise the bar. right? And demand better service, demand better goods, and consumers reacting. Merchants reacting to that as well. From a validation, from execution perspective, how well we're deployed, it really comes down to number of adoptions, right? So not only consumers. For us, the challenge is our success is about getting adoption by merchants, right? Consumers tend to follow pretty quickly. If I can find deals or I get a new app on my phone, I'll tell my friends about it, and there's a viral aspect. Merchants are slower to do viral, right? They're reactionary, but for them to change the way that they promote, and what we're up against is today, if we go into any business, brick and mortar business, they're accustomed to picking up the phone, calling the newspaper, putting an ad out, or meeting with the account manager and doing a television ad, and there's complexity in that. What they're not accustomed to is going online, that into our system, creating a very simple promotion on a computer, and have that promotion be visible to thousands of people.
They don't have the staff. The staff is not equipped.
Right, they don't have the staff, and today they don't have the systems, right? There's no system like Milan out there that we've seen that allows a business to do that. Yeah. What we've found, though, is once we've made it aware to them, those that, again, it's a learning curve, right? Those that are adopting to it find it very powerful.
Yeah. So is it a training question? I mean, how hard is it for the the shopkeeper, for example, to actually enter data into the system?
Well, we've done the best that we can at this point by making it as very user friendly. It takes about 5 minutes for a user to create a new account, list their locations, and then create a simple program.
You mean from nothing?
From nothing, right? You go to milanmarketplace.com, enter your business address, tell us a little bit about you, right? Take a picture of your store, put your logo up there, what type of businesses, what type of consumers.
It doesn't cost them anything.
It doesn't cost. Well, we do charge a $5 fee to set up your business, but you only pay for, and it's a one-time fee, $5. Going after that, it's a matter of how many people are clicking at you, and those start at 10 cents to 15 cents a click.
Oh, the clicks. Okay, but actually, they're not giving up anything by opening themselves to this business. In other words, you don't tell them that they're going to have to give a discount of X percent. No. They can choose to do that. They can make any kind of promotion they want, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
And if they want to, if they make their own, crosshairs on it, they can make a low promotion, get huge tons of new business that way. Right. Or they can decide not to give any promotions at all and waste the asset.
Right. And I think that's really up to the business owner. It's the same reason that many of these are doing these 2-for-1 deals, right? It's very painful, but it's very sexy for the consumers. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're providing a platform that allows a business owner that is, has marketing awareness to use our system to create whatever type of programs he wants. It doesn't have to be a mobile coupon.
Do you consult with them? Do you give them advice about how their ad program should work?
Absolutely. We tried it. We make ourselves available for that. We also are trying to be efficient too. One of the challenges that we need to reach millions of these businesses out there. So we put a lot of resources in creating kits, welcome kits to merchants. So when they start up, the kit includes like a welcome package that shows you how to get started. Of course, our contact information for support. We include a little sticker.
You're walking physically around.
We actually have a great team that many of them that are just impressed by the marketing strengths of it that have come to us and are actually helping us.
So they're walking physically around.
They're walking physically around. We do promotions as well. There's some commercials that are going out, and a lot of it is viral. What's happening is some consumers are going in, sharing it on. We leverage the social media too. And some business owners, we've had a mixed bag. Some consumers said, hey, I saw your commercial on television, want to find out a little bit more about it. And we just direct them to the website, they sign up. Others will say, I had a consumer asking about it, or their kid used a promo that was from a merchant in Milan, and they like to get involved.
Word of mouth. So what about the shopping center? I mean, I'm thinking of Ala Moana, only because they've been in the paper so much lately over power problems. But I'm thinking of Ala Moana. I mean, if you go to Ala Moana and say, look, we want to give you guys a break, and we're going to, instead of charging $5, we're going to charge $4 on the startup, just for you guys only. And so we'd like you to put something up in the tenant newsletter, if you will, and put our name out. And if you do that, we'll give you guys a break. Now, if that happens, you don't have to actually install anything for the shopping center itself.
Sure.
It's still a direct relationship with all those tenants.
All the merchants, correct.
And you don't have to. The shopping center doesn't have to do anything.
Correct.
Other than notify tenants about your program.
Right. So we've been taking similar paths. We've met with merchant associations,
Right,
marketing
right.
associations that bring awareness to their members. And we've done a lot of incentive deals for them. As an early launch platform in Hawaii, we're allowing some of those incentives.
That's very exciting. So, every time you sign somebody up and every time you go into a new area of activity, it's another laboratory, isn't it? And you can have another idea that takes it that much further.
Right.
So it sounds like it's a work in progress. It has to be.
It is.
You got to keep
And
running
it's-
all the time. So.
And it is. It's that's one of the best things about the startup and the worst things, right? It's a lot. It's a culmination of many small successes. So there's never a big success that comes on. So like you're saying, every merchant that we sign on, we have a big bell and a keg of beer next to it. So we ring the bell and drink the keg.
Of course. So, but the merchant is actually can do this very easily. And if you can get the word out, whether by your own advertising or by email or by third parties or word of mouth, you can sign up an awful lot of people that way.
Absolutely.
And then when you hit critical mass, then
Right.
it's then the whole thing goes nuclear, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what critical mass is, but it's like a nuclear reaction, isn't it?
It
Then
is.
everybody wants it.
Correct.
You haven't gotten there yet. Though.
No, we're not. We're very excited. I think the deployment in the Northeast is going to be very significant for us, mainly because we have great partners there, tap to a great consumer market, and leveraging their relationships with merchants.
Is it different, the program that you're organizing there and here?
It's very similar. We have some details of it is different. The reason why we're optimistic of it is because we've partnered up with a leading, the leader in that area of local marketing, right? And they're a newspaper. They have their challenges themselves. So they have the market today, but their frustration is that they're losing customers every day to these and they would say, these smart alley high-tech companies that will come in and try to get deals from them, and they have no relationships with these merchants. So they're frustrated. They have the relationships, they have the trust with the tenants. And what we've done is partner with them to offer our technology in combination with their brand and with their sales force. So we really think that it's a win-win opportunity for us.
Yeah,
there.
well, God, you're going to find out all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we are.
Right now, you look at it with your mind locked into, say, one area of sales activity, but then you think, well, you could go and do it in this area.
Right.
And why not cars?
Right.
And why not houses? God knows what,
Right. There's we often see ourselves as kind of like a Craigslist combined with Amazon, right? Because Amazon is online, Craigslist is very much regional. We really bring a marketplace of brick and mortar merchants at the regional level.
So you're putting it on a website also?
Mhm.
Is this information on a website? In other words, sure, I can get it on my phone, but
Oh,
what
yeah.
about, I want to go look on a website, can I?
Sure. We have a couple commercials and instructional videos on it, and the website's a work in progress. But if you go to milanmarketplace.com, you'll find information on how the model works. If you're a merchant, you can sign up. If you're a consumer, you can download some apps that we're in. And it's basically, that's all the equation
Okay. It
is.
seems to be you're talking about brick and mortar, right? And I'm wondering about Amazon. I'm wondering about, my favorite of all, BH Photo.
Oh, right,
It's my
right.
favorite of all.
Yeah.
Is that something within your ambit? In other words, an online mail order house?
It's possible. I think that Milan's focus is really about mobile, right? The Talisman is utilizing mobile technologies.
So that assumes brick and mortar.
It assumes
right?
brick and mortar because if like B&H Photo, I can go to my PC and I don't necessarily have to use it on my mobile. In fact, I rarely will. I mean, as much
Yeah.
of a mobile guy as I
You
am.
get a better look if you have
Right.
a PC.
Better
Yeah,
looking.
okay.
So for that reason, they have great solutions out there. Google and and all these other bigger online companies do a great job there. I think what's missing potentially for B&H is they still utilize very old technology to reach. Whenever I go into New York, the only I see them at the airport. I'll pick up a stand and his BH Photo, and it says show this and get $5 off or something like that. But again, it's not reaching me when I'm there. Now I use a bunch of applications, everything from subway applications to Yelp and all these other applications when I'm traveling. So if I had a marketplace when I'm traveling and B&H Photo was there, then they'd be putting some marketing dollars in a very targeted way to a consumer that
Sure.
is searching them out.
I suspect they're really an inch away from where you are because, I mean, suppose you come in the airport and there's a message on your phone that says B&H is going to give you half price if you get there by 3 o'clock.
Yeah, right. Very
Okay,
powerful.
I'll go. I'll do that. You
Right,
know?
right.
Very powerful, and they don't have to worry about you finding the flyer, the physical flyer,
Right.
and reading it and throwing it away.
Right, and the cost of consumer acquisition is a fraction of what they
Yeah,
pay.
right. No printing bill, just
That's
electronics.
right. Green, very green.
And it's focused again, you know, because you'd
Right.
be on their list,
Right.
and you'd be one of their mail order customers. They know you were in the city, or
Right.
you open yourself to that.
Right.
And then, you know, so mail order houses, don't write them off just yet, okay?
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So I want to talk to you about you know, this business, which I really love your business. It's really fabulous. It's a great statement about Hawaii, and it's a statement about Hawaii thinking big, you know, thinking over the horizon, which I think is what we got to do. So the question is, how do you think the tech industry is doing? You know, we've been through information tech, and it kind of went soft in the beginning of the decade. You guys came up fine, but a lot of companies didn't. And we went into life sciences, and that really hasn't done very well. And then we got involved in Linda Lingle's energy, and maybe there's traction there. I mean, maybe this year's a big year in energy. But how is tech doing? How is information tech doing here, as far as you know?
You know, I haven't really, you know, to be fair, I haven't really looked at a lot of other companies in Hawaii, but I have come across some very great, you know, technology that I've seen, and surprisingly done here. I think that, you know, being born and raised here, I'm somewhat biased, but I'm also aware of really where the bar is. You know, I've lived in Silicon Valley, lived in the Northeast as well. I think Hawaii's challenge is, you know, it really depends on what area of tech is. I think, you know, to have an idea conceptually that is based where consumers are involved in it, you know, similar to what Talisman is. You know, much of our technology is influenced by consumers and daily life and cultures. Hawaii, there's probably no better place for that. And really, that is the next step. Technology is going to affect every culture, regardless of whether you're in rice fields or if you're in a Manhattan city. Right.
That's absolutely true.
Right.
No, there's no place on the planet that doesn't want it,
Right.
and won't get it.
Right.
Everybody
Right.
will get it.
I think that, you know, there's going to be pros and cons. One of the challenges for tech companies here is that we don't have the exposure, right? And that's probably something that even governments won't be able to do. And what I mean by that is one of our disadvantages of being based here is that we're not neighbors. We're not in the same building as the Google and the Yahoos are, and we don't have the associations and the network. Now, that's something to be said, right? Hawaii has great, if you're into hospitality, there's no place better than Hawaii for that. Now, that being said, though, I think that you know, some of the initiatives that the government has made to promote education and with the 221 and those type of efforts are very much positive, because had that not come around, it would just pretty much kill any type of risk taking in there. So I think the dust is still in the air, and I'm not really up to date with all of those details of what's going on. I can say that I'm optimistic there are going to be a handful of great technologies, not just in recent times, but over the course of the last 20 years that have actually come out from Hawaii. Many things, you know, I came from the carrier space that actually were test piloted here in Hawaii with Hawaii markets that are leading in the voice over IP. Some of the technologies in the world today have some roots in Hawaii.
Mm.
So.
You know, you mentioned the tourist industry, and maybe you know more about this than I do, but my impression is two things. One is that Hawaii has got the best opportunity in the world to develop tourist software, you know, hospitality
right.
software.
Right.
We could, with our exposure to it, you know, our experience factor, develop
Absolutely.
some of the best, cleanest, most powerful
Absolutely.
software in the world on that subject. And my second point is, but we haven't.
Right. Right.
What went wrong? I mean, and you're a kissing cousin to that kind of thing. You know, you could take your approach, your, you know, critical thinking, your experience in the software business, and move over there. But you're busy right now, so you're not going to do that. But
no, it's not necessarily true. I mean, we we're very much focused on Hawaii, and all of our technologies, including Milan, is always offered at Hawaii first, and we look for partners. But by that same
you look
token,
at the hotels.
We talk to as anybody that's crazy enough to listen to us or to me, right?
I will always listen
And
to
it's
you.
yeah, it's because you're crazy too. I'm sorry to say it, but I love you for it. So in Hawaii, that's been sort of a, I mean, to be a little critical, that's been sort of a question that we've had, in that we've oftentimes made our technology free, not because we undervalue it, but we wanted to make it accessible
Sure.
for a learning
It's good
experience.
business.
Right. But we've been surprised of the, in some areas, the resistance of adopting to new things, which I'm not really sure if it's if it's just a regional thing, or in many areas I think it's probably the same, but I think that's probably something that Hawaii in general, all of us have to work on, is being able to maybe look at changing things in a calculated way. So we think that there's many technologies that can be embraced more in Hawaii. Typically it's a cost factor, right? In our case, it hasn't been. We've offered our technology in many cases to those that are willing to take some risks with it, and play with it. But we haven't had a lot of those partners that would do that.
Well, a
They're
lot
still
of the
very-
hotel industry is owned offshore. And they also have this cargo cult thing about how if it's not from, I mean, if it's from Hawaii, it's not going to be
Right.
at the same level of quality and
Correct.
imagination as from L.A., for example.
Right.
And, as a burden, you have to overcome that
It is,
burden if
it
you're going
is.
to sell them.
Right.
I wish there was something we could do to motivate them and take a closer look at it, because, I think companies like yours could actually help them a lot. Not only yours, there are others
Sure,
too
absolutely.
out there, but seems to me that if you're standing beside the desk clerk, right, and able to watch him work,
Right.
able to understand the inner workings of the hotel operation, you can create software that can be used anywhere in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And things are changing. I think 2009, 2010 was a little bit of a anomaly, right? With the economy and things, people were far less receptive to doing anything risky. But we've had some very encouraging conversations with some very, strong brands in the travel industry in Hawaii. Going into 2011, I think it'll be very exciting.
In connection with Milan.
Yes, Milan, you're right, Milan, and just mobile in general.
Yeah.
So we're very optimistic that we're very hopeful. That's really one of our measures of success. If we can be successful and get the $1 billion, that any startup wants, is great. But at the same time, if we can, in our own way, make Hawaii a better place,
That would be great.
and that's really
Be
our
great.
goal.
So that's a win-win.
It is.
Because it's not only you and it's Hawaii,
Right.
it's kind of a win-win-win.
Right.
Because now you can export with
Right.
with, with greater relish.
And the best part about a win-win in that case is there's win-win with no sacrifice, right? There's nothing more that we pay for that. And that's what we really like. And that's why when, part of it about being born and raised here and for those that understand about Hawaii, and it happens all around the world. I don't want to make it like Hawaii is the only place that happens. But here it's, we try to think about our neighbors because we're living close to each other. So, it's oftentimes harder to give when it means less for you. But in these kind of cases, we're developing some technology that's new, it's experimental, but there's nothing to lose from it. So we really would like to do that if there's any way
What an
possible.
exciting, thrilling time. But the question I guess I'm left with is, were you a 221 company? Did the passage that there's the sunset of 221 have any effect on you? Where did you seek and find your venture capital, and where would you seek and find it now?
I think yes, we are qualified to 221 company. As far as the future, I think we're in a timing where it worked out. Talisman is always about changing the way, on a very large scale. So we know that at some point we need to evolve out of Hawaii, never to leave Hawaii, but be able to expand beyond it. So
It's okay to have branch offices in many places.
That's right, and in many cases it's a requirement. One of the things that we work against oftentimes is when you talk to a larger brand on the mainland, they'll say, "Why are you in Hawaii again?" And do you have any offices in here? And especially if you talk to VCs, right? Not that we're really doing that, but when you do that, they're looking at jumping on a plane and being there in a couple of hours, right?
Mhm.
So we know that that's all part of it. So at the same time, we know that evolution is there. So because of our stage in that area, it's less of a factor for 221, mainly because it's a Hawaii incentive. However, I can say that without that program, it would have been very difficult, I think, to get the kind of traction that we have, just from a level of risk perspective. I'm very fortunate that my partner is very much supportive on it. But I think 2-to-1 makes it a little bit more, and just a fraction of a degree, more openness.
Which you
to
need.
change it.
That fraction means a lot.
It does. It does.
And I worry about it going forward. I mean, all this consternation and controversy.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it generated $1.4 or $5 billion
Right.
worth of investment into the
Right.
state, and we don't have it anymore.
Right.
And now, and the ERS is not making local investment, and KS is not making local investment. So who's to make it? You know,
I
and,
think I think it will hurt. You know, we were lucky that we got a part of that. We be a part of that. I think it's questionable. For instance, if we were to start up another crazy idea, you know, with another tech idea, I think it would be very difficult.
What about staff, workers, programmers, all the people you need to run an enterprise like this? Are you able to find them here? Or do you have to go far and wide to get them?
Well, you know, we're in the mobile space, so a lot of our technologies and influences come from Asia. And actually, Talisman has a very international group. So we have, you know, some local people here. We've also brought in, you know, a couple overseas that are here. I think that has a positive respect. So in that, we all learn from each other. Things that, you know, Hawaii is still very much an island. Many of our talents come in from Hawaii people that have gone and lived on the mainland and have returned and can, you know, demonstrate their expertise that they brought there. But I think the exciting thing about technology is that we really have the ability to create a melting pot of world cultures. So, you know, it's about bringing in the different, maybe ethnicities or different cultures. And it really is very exciting for that respect. So I have a very multicultural team that really has made us successful, you know, by just working together.
How big is the company now?
Very small. we have a 6 actually people. One in New York. He's our sales director there, and so we have people from Hawaii, one from China, from Canada, and all living in Hawaii, all contributing in their own way with different perspectives. Really, what Hawaii is, right?
You still hands-on? Do you read the code?
I never could read code.
I remember that.
I just act like I do, right?
Do a good job.
Yeah, no, I have a great team, right? That they do that. My fun is about trying to anticipate things and you know, question everything and say, can it be easier, right? Is there an easier way to do it? Is there a better way to do it? And that's the fun thing.
I remember that. Kyle Tanouye, visionary, Talisman LBS. Thank you so much.
Jay.
All the
Thank
best
you.
to you for next
Pleasure
year.
to be here. Thank you.
I want to see you really climb, take off, whatnot.
Me too.